monthly Shotsuki Memorial Service for the month of July 2026. I'm pleased to see every one of you here today. And for your information, today is the Watsonville Buddhist Temple's Obon Festival that will take place. Did you already go to somewhere at Obon so far? Monterey last week, and San Jose's the Obon last week, and this weekend is also the Mountain Views Buddhist Temple's the Obon Festival. Yeah, literally, so it's something, it's a parade of the things that are ongoing. Yes. Please. Right. Go. Yes. Okay. Yes. And so Watsonville's Obon will begin in 1 hour. And so that goes to around 5 p.m. But if you might, you can stretch to the Mountain View Buddhist Temple's Obon because it's gonna take place until 8 p.m. tonight. So and of course our Obon, the festival is awaiting in 1 week. I hope every one of you that will join us for sharing the joy and the cherished memories together. So I would like to reflect on the meaning of this special season of Obon. I aware some of you that came from the distance on this occasion, the Obon. So I believe there are 2 ways to appreciate this season. One is to enjoy Obon as a cultural celebration. Major part may be this. Then the other is to appreciate its deeper religious significance. Let us begin with the first one. In Japan, Obon is one of the most important holidays of the year. Families travel back to their hometowns, relatives gathered after months or even sometimes years apart and communicate, and communities come alive with festivals and joyous reunions. According to Japanese tradition, it is also the season when our loved ones return home. In many ways, we experience the same things here in America. Actually, during Obon, people who moved away return to their home temple. Some come to volunteer for Obon festival, some even perform on stage, or some simply come to enjoy the reuniting. Whatever the reason may be, Obon has a wonderful way of bringing people home. Throughout the year, we become busy with work, school, and daily responsibilities. Without realizing it, we drift farther from the people and places that have nurtured us. However, Obon gently reminds us of where we originally belong to. It points us back toward home. But Obon is more than a homecoming in a physical sense. It's also an opportunity to return spiritually. This brings us to the religious meaning of Obon. When I reflect upon Obon, there are 3 words having come up in my mind: compassion, connection, and joy. These themes are deeply rooted in the Buddhist tradition. First, the compassion. The origin of Obon is traditionally found in the Urambana Sutra. Briefly, Mr. Hirahara mentioned this sutra at the beginning of this service, which tells the legendary story of Maudgalyāyana, or known as Mokuren in Japanese. I like to refer him as Mokuren from now. So, who is one of the foremost Shakyamuni Buddha's disciple. One day, while meditating, Mokuren wondered what had become of his deceased mother. Using his extraordinary ability, he searched through the heavenly realms and the human world, but he couldn't find her. Finally, he discovered her in the realm of desperate, hungry ghost. The loving mother he remembered was now suffering terribly. Wanting to help her, he offered her food, yet she couldn't receive it. As the nature of the hungry ghost, no matter how much he wished to rescue her, his effort couldn't make it. Heartbroken, Mokuren asked advice to the Buddha, asking, "Why has my mother fallen into the hungry ghost, and how can I save her?" The Buddha explained that although she had loved her own son deeply, her kindness actually had not extended beyond him. For the sake of her own child, she had ignored the sufferings of others. Her love had been sincere, yet it remained limited by attachment. The Buddha then instructed Mokuren to make offerings to the Sangha during the rainy season retreat. Following the Buddha's guidance, Mokuren offered foods to the community of practitioners, and through these causes and conditions, his mother was successfully liberated. At first glance, this story seems to teach us to become more compassionate, more gentle, kind to others. However, I believe it teaches us something even deeper, which reveals how limited our compassion is. As ordinary beings, in other words, known as Bonbu, our kindness is often selective. We naturally care for those who are close to us, limited to our families, our friends, and those who we love. There is nothing wrong with that. However, it is simply the reality of who we are. But because our compassion is limited, it is also accompanied by attachment, preference, and self-centeredness, even ego. The realm of hungry ghost is therefore not simply a place described in a Buddhist universe. It works as a mirror to have us see our true limited self with conditional compassion. Whenever our lives become consumed by greed, jealousy, endless craving, we experience the suffering of hungry ghosts can even be manifest right here and now. Seeing ourselves in Mokuren's mother or even Mokuren, it's not mean to condemn us. Rather, it helps us honestly recognize our own limitations. This naturally leads to the second word, which is connection. Please imagine two mothers. Each believes her own child is the most precious person in the world. Then, if we ask, which child is the most precious? How should we answer? One, the other, both, or even either? From our ordinary perspective, every answer seems rigid, but from the Buddha's wisdom, the question itself begins to disappear because every child is embraced equally. Every existence is precious. Nothing should be left behind. Even Mokuren could initially think only of saving his own mother. His compassion was sincere, but it remained limited by personal attachment, which is to his mother. That is why the Buddha did not simply tell him to rescue his mother. Instead, he redirected Mokuren toward the Sangha. Through this, Mokuren gradually came to see a wider world. This is the meaning of dependent origination or interdependency. Nothing exists alone. Even life supports other life. This brings us to the quotation from Shinran Shonin, which I cited at the beginning. He said, "I have never once recited the Nembutsu for the sake of my father or mother." All beings throughout countless lives have been connected with one another as parents, as children, as brothers, or as sisters. Our own hearts naturally make distinction. We care more deeply for some people than for others. This is simply the reality of ordinary beings. But Amida Buddha's compassion is entirely different. It's more broader and wider, and of course deeper. It embraces all beings equally without discrimination. And the Nembutsu is not something we perform to create good merits or good karma. Rather, in saying Namo Amida Butsu for the sake of specific person, we awaken to the compassion that has already been directed toward each of beings. We realize that our hearts limited. Amida's wisdom and compassion never abandoned anyone. Then finally, this brings us to the final word, joy. There are two kinds of joy during Obon. The first is the joy of reuniting with family and friends. And the second joy is the joy of encountering the boundless compassion of Amida Buddha. As we hear the Nembutsu, Namo Amida Butsu, we gradually awaken to the profound truth that none of us lives alone. each of us is sustained by immeasurable causes and conditions. Each of us is embraced by immeasurable compassion. For this reason, in Jodo Shinshu, gatherings such as today's service, we call it as kangie, a gathering of joy. At the beginning of my talk for today, I said that Obon is a season of homecoming. Today, perhaps we can understand that homecoming in a deeper way, which is we return not only to our temple, we return not only to our family, rather we return to the boundless compassion of Amida Buddha, the truth of the Buddha Dharma, which equally works on each being and awaken and guiding us to the broader and warm world. May this Obon season become a time when we share that joy with one another and expressing our joy with dancing Obon Odori and recitation of the Buddha's, of the Nembutsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you very much for listening to my message, and I briefly give you the summarize of my talk in Japanese as well. ではここからは少しだけ日本語でもお取り次ぎさせていただきたいと思います。もう一度ご一緒に合唱をお願いいたします。親鸞は部母の公用のためとて一遍にても念仏申したることいまだ候わず、そのゆえは一切の右情は皆もって世々正常の父母兄弟なりと。ナモアミダ仏、ナモアミダ仏、ナモアミダ仏、ナモアミダ仏、ナモアミダ仏、ナモアミダ仏、ナモアミダ仏、ナモアミダ仏、ナモアミダ仏。はい、改めまして皆様おはようございます。本日は、サリナス仏教会の裏盆へ初盆並びに7月の正月の法要にようこそご参拝くださりました。この度はお盆ということで一つそのお盆の意味ということをですねご一緒に考えてみたいと思います。先に結論から申し上げますと、私なりの味わいではありますが、お盆ということには2つのお味わいがあると思うんですね。一つは故郷へ帰る喜び、そしてもう一つは阿弥陀様の限りない慈悲に出会わせていただく喜びです。まず一つ目の故郷へ帰る喜びです。今日のこの法要のためにもですね、皆さん遠近各地から集まってご家族久しぶりの、集いの場となっている、ことと思います。日本ではこのお盆というのはですね、8月が多いですけれども、お盆休みという、帰省のシーズンによく、言われます。お盆の時期になりますと多くの人が実家に帰って家族に会い友人に会い、そして墓参りをして、あるいは地元の夏祭りの楽しみを一緒にですね、楽しんで、新たな思い出作りに励むことだと思います。しかしこの再会を喜ぶということの意味で見ると、それはここアメリカも同じだと思うんですね。普段は遠くに住んでいたり、あるいは近くに住んでてもなかなか縁がなくて会うことがない人がですね、この時は実家に帰ってきて、あるいはお寺に戻ってきてくれます。そこではお盆のお手伝いをする方、お盆踊りに参加する方、または お祭り自体を楽しみにされている方などなど、理由は様々ではありますけれども、お盆には人を帰らせる力があると思います。忙しい日々の中で私たちは知らず知らずのうちに自分たちを育ててくれた場所やコミュニティ、あるいは人っていうのをですね、ついつい忘れてしまいます。そんな時に、このお盆の時に実家のような場所に帰ってくることで、そうしたかけがえのないつながりというものを再び思い起こさせてくれるという意味で、お盆というのはとても意味のある行事だと思います。しかしお盆は単なる里帰りではありません。仏教ではお盆の由来を裏盆経というお経に見ます。お釈迦様のお弟子であります木蓮という方は、亡くなった母親の行方を訪ねて、そしてその母親を餓鬼道という苦しみの世界で見つけました。母親を餓鬼道から救いたい一心で木蓮は食べ物を差し出しますが、しかし餓鬼道に生まれた報いとして母親はその食べ物を受け取ることができません。そこでお釈迦様は木蓮尊者に、他の修行僧たちに施しをしなさいとアドバイスをされました。そしてその施しによって母親は救われたというのが、この裏盆経の大きなお話です。このお話だけを聞くと、人に親切にしましょうというのがお盆の教訓のようにも思えます。確かにそれもあります。しかしそれ以上に私たちが見るべき姿というのは、その木蓮尊者の母親の姿が私たち自身の姿そのままであるということですね。木蓮尊者は母親を心から愛していました。しかしその慈しみはまず母親一人だけに向けられていました。しかしその木蓮の姿こそまた私たちのありのままの姿ではないでしょうか。それは母親にしても木蓮にしても、限られたものだけにしか思いやりの心を向けることができないという狭い了見に生きている私たちのありのままの姿だと思います。私たちは家族や親しい人には親切にできます。しかしその心はいつも分け隔てのないものとは言えません。好き嫌いがあり、遠い近いがあり、自分中心の物事の見方から離れることはできません。そのような姿を親鸞上人は凡夫と表現されました。だからこそ親鸞上人は父母のために念仏を申したことはないと「歎異抄」に残されています。これは自分の親を大切にしなくていいというような、そういう意味ではありません。南無阿弥陀仏のお念仏は誰か一人のために向けられたものではなく、生きとし生けるものすべてのために向けられた阿弥陀様の大きな大きな慈悲がそのお念仏に働いており、私たちのその狭い了見を持った心を目覚めさせる働きがあるのです。阿弥陀様のお慈悲は私たちのようにこの人だけというようなものではなく、すべての命を優しく包み込んでいます。私たちの優しさには限りがあります。しかし仏様にはそれがありません。私たちがお慈悲に照らされることで、自分がどのような存在であるのかに気づかされます。このお盆というご縁を通して、先に亡くなられて仏様になられた方々、そして里帰りをして久しぶりに会った家族、両親や友達との話を通して、私たちがどれだけ多くの人々の優しさに支えられており、そのつながりに気づかせていただいて感謝をさせていただく機会と なるのではないでしょうか。そしてその根底にあるのは大きな大きな仏様のお慈悲の心が広く広がっているということ、その大切な精神を思い起こさせてくれるのがこのお盆という行事の意味ではないでしょうか。そうした広い優しさの心に触れて、ともどもにこの実りを喜ばさせていただくご縁として、ご一緒にこのお盆という行事を味わいたいと思います。ご弔問いただきましてどうもありがとうございました。最後、柏礼拝を持ってご一緒させていただきます。ナモアミダ仏、ナモアミダ仏、ナモアミダ仏、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダ仏、ナマンダ仏。